Welcome, everyone. Hello. How's it going? Welcome back. Hold on, Nick. Your green screen. I messed up a little bit. How's it going? A little bit of technical difficulties today, but we're trudging through it. Welcome back to Developer Waypoints. I am Peter Malahan. I am a senior UX designer, and to my left,
I'm Nic Raboy, and I am a lead developer evangelist at Here.
there we go. Yeah. This is the final episode of the first season of Developer Waypoints. The first season has been JavaScript. Nick, are you excited for today's episode?
I am excited. I'm not excited that the season is over, but I'm excited that we're bringing it to a nice closure.
Yeah. So, what is it? Happy that it happened, sad that it ends?
Kinda, yeah.
That's a phrase, right? I don't know.
I have no idea.
You can attribute that to me.
Sure.
Yes. So let me run through some intro details just to get everybody up to speed. If you're wondering what Developer Waypoints is, this is a live coding series where we progressively build something over a season of episodes. So right now, obviously, we're at the end of season 1, which has been JavaScript. What are we doing? What are we doing on this final episode, Nick?
Yeah. So I mean, this final episode, we're going to be focusing on routing. So 2 different kinds of routing. We're going to be focusing on the Isoline and then standard waypoint routes. So this will kind of expand upon everything that we've done in the prior 3 episodes. So we'll be making use of the geocoder, we'll be making use of the Places API, the interactive map, just a whole lot of cool stuff.
Awesome. Cool. So if you're here watching, we're live, obviously, so that gives you the chance as a viewer to participate in chat, ask questions, kind of hang out and talk with your fellow developers. And there's also quite a few members of our team in our office in chat as well, hanging out, ready to answer questions for you. There are 2 mods in chat. They're users with a little sword icon next to their name. It's Palermo for Twitch and J12Y, which is Jason. And they'll be there ready to answer questions if we're not able to get to something that you ask. What else? There's also a bot in chat too. Name is Nightbot. I'll show you a.
So did you come up with the name of that bot, or is that just the generic name that was already available, Peter?
I made a bot. I made the bot myself. No, I'm just kidding. No.
You named it Nightbot?
It's just called Nightbot.
It's pretty cool.
I misspelled that. Hold on here. It's commands. You can see a list of commands that Nightbot can offer, and that's what it looks like when he responds. Yeah, so I'll just be using that to call out, mostly just for links, so I don't have to type out links over and over, and it just makes it a little easier for anyone in chat who wants to follow along that can actually follow the links. So yes, Jithin, routing is the best thing to end the season 1 with a bang. Yeah, I'm excited for this one. I do like Isoline routing; it's very interesting.
Definitely.
What's up, Mallory Lux? Good to have you here. Yeah, so before we jump in too far, Nick, do we have a shameless plug?
We do. So we have something new going on that we kind of wanted to share in this episode. So we are starting a Slack channel, so a community Slack channel where anyone can come and engage with us and seek help or share their stories. This is actually, I want to give a shout out to Melody, who's on my team, who made this possible. So this is the start, and I think, Peter, you've already showed the link on the screen, right?
It's on the screen, and it's in chat right now.
Yeah, Melody K has made this possible, and she did a great job at it. So
yeah,
definitely, at the end of this episode, if you have a chance, please register and then say hi.
Yeah, I'm over there as well. Nick's over there.
Yep.
Yeah, great shout out. I'll do a little shout out. Mallory, I feel like maybe doing a shout out here, if in time. Melody says yes. It's a YEASS. It's yes.
All right.
Right? Uh, so we'll just do a quick shout out for next week. A week from today, we're starting another live stream. It's called AWS Connections, and Nick is on it, as well as Michael Palermo. They're going to be running the show, and I'll be in the background pulling the strings. That'll be next week, and you can find all that information for future episodes if you click the events tab. But I also have a link on screen right now for just twitch.tv/heredev/events, and you can see all the planned out upcoming events that are already on Twitch, ready to go. And we'll slowly be adding more episodes, and then once season 2 is ready of Waypoints, then we'll have that up there as well. Oh, Nick, I did not set up the poll ahead of time. I'll have to work on it when you start working.
Bummer, man, dropping the ball.
I know. I got a little too busy this morning. Yeah.
So do you want to say what the poll is?
Yes. So for those dedicated Waypoints followers of this season, we are planning out season 2 right now. We have settled on frameworks as the theme, but we need your help to decide what we're actually going to focus on. So I'm going to set up a poll right now in chat that you can vote on, and while Nick starts working, and the poll. What are the 3 frameworks we're gonna offer?
Yeah, so we're mixed up on what we want to do. So we want to figure out if we should be playing around with a little bit of Angular, Vue, and React, or if we should choose one framework and then do like a deeper, more complex story and season around one particular framework.
So sorry, I missed that. What are the 3?
Yeah, so Angular, Vue, and React are probably the most popular at the moment.
Angular, Vue.
And we just want to know if we should focus on all of them, but maybe have a more shallow season as far as what we try to accomplish versus maybe choose one. And we're open to whatever everyone wants.
Yes. Yeah. So I'll make a poll. I'll submit it into chat. It'll be a straw poll, so just 1 vote per person, and you'll be able to vote on if you want a specific framework to be focused on. Like if you're really interested in that framework, you can vote on that one. If you want an overview of all the frameworks, kind of like a shorter look into each one, kind of developing the same thing, just to get an idea of how to use each of them, then vote for that. So I'll set that up now, and then Nick, maybe you can jump into things while I'm setting that up. And then we'll also have a Twitter poll go up later this week that you can have more of a existing past the stream to be able to vote. So we'll take all that data and we'll make season 2 based off of what we learned from our viewers.
Definitely. Yeah. So that while Peter's doing that, I'll go ahead and start. So we're gonna start back up right where we left off on episode 3. So I actually do have the GitHub project cloned. Like with every episode so far, at the end of the episode, I will be doing a push, so that way you'll have instant access to the code to play around with. But to start things off, what I'm actually going to do is I am going to just copy episode 3 and turn it into episode 4. So let me just copy that real quick. We'll turn that into an episode 4.
And there's a link in chat right now to go to our GitHub to download the files if you want to start participating with this episode today, or continue.
Yeah, definitely. So we have an episode 4 now, and this is where I'm going to work out of. So I'll just close episode 3. I'll also close the Finder window there, and I probably don't need this terminal anymore. So just kind of to reiterate where we were on episode 3 as kind of a look back, let me populate the keys. And one thing I did want to mention is we're going to do a bonus episode. It's not going to be live, but we're going to do a bonus episode of me just kind of cleaning up the source code to give you a more modern appeal of how to develop with here in JavaScript. But that's going to be another episode. So for now, I'm just going to go ahead and go to my developer portal, and I'm going to get my API keys, and I'm just going to paste them in. So I got the app ID, and you can get a free developer account. You get quite a few transactions every month for free. No credit card required, just like what we demonstrated in the first episode. So I paste my tokens in. If I want to, and I'll actually open my terminal again. I'm just going to open that file. So that way we can see where we left off in episode 3. So this is what we did in episode 3. We have our interactive map. We have a polyline. Each of these markers on this triangle is created from the geocoder. And then we have this collection of markers is actually using the Places API. So I believe these were Starbucks locations, right, Peter?
I think so. Yeah, that was the final thing we settled on.
So we're gonna reuse a lot of this code to work with our router, because we don't want to work with geo coordinates again, because it's not something that typically people remember in terms of coordinates. But we are going to clean up a few things first. So for one, we're not going to be using the reverse geocoder in this example. We'll be using Places and the regular geocoder. But for that reason, I'm just going to erase it, so that way it's a little less confusing on what we're doing. I'm also going to comment out pretty much line string all the way down for now. I'm just trying to give us kind of a base map. We're going to leave the geocoder functionality in there. I am going to erase one of the geocoded markers. So I'm going to erase Modesto. I'm just going to do some cleaning up, so that way it is maybe hopefully a little less confusing as we go forward.
Okay. So
yes.
Real quick, Nick, I created the poll.
Yes.
It worked. Okay.
It worked.
All right. So there's a link in chat. I can link it again later. I'll probably bring it up at the end of the episode to follow that and vote for what you're looking for to watch in season 2. So it's available now to vote. So head over there and vote. Thank you.
Awesome.
I apologize that was not set up ahead of time.
No worries.
Very unprofessional.
No, we won't judge. Yeah, so I just commented out some stuff. I removed some stuff. I'm going to save it just to show you where we stand in the map, kind of as a starting point. We have 2 markers. So because we're going to be focusing on routing in this example, the logical next step is probably to draw an actual route between these 2 markers. And this route is not going to be a straight polyline. This is going to be an actual route with actual roadways that can be used based on certain conditions, whether that be traffic or whatever you define. So that's going to be our goal for the start. And this is standard waypoint routing. So what we're going to do is we're gonna look at the routing API. So in our docs, we do have a guide that has very basic routing examples. You could always look deeper into them. So as far as what you can do with each of the routers, what's accepted, you can pass waypoint information, and this could be any number of waypoints in your route. It doesn't have to be just a start and finish. You can define the mode. Like I said, you could define maybe fastest, maybe car, maybe truck routing, maybe pedestrian. There's a lot of options that you can choose from. You can choose to whether include traffic data. You could even choose to include toll roads and stuff like that. So a whole lot of different stuff inside the mode, and they're somewhere in the documentation here. It gives you more information on what these types are. So you have quite a few options. It's a very powerful tool. So we're gonna start creating this router. So in the code, it's going to be similar to what we saw with both the Places and the geocoder API. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create kind of this wrapper function that's going to return a promise, so that way we don't have to use callbacks. And we're going to start just by returning the data. We're going to print it to the logs, and then we're going to start to draw it on the map. How's that sound, Peter?
Sounds great. Let's do it.
So yeah, all right. So let's create another function here. Say constant. I'm going to call it. Let's go ahead and call it calculate route. And this is going to accept, in our circumstance, it's going to accept a starting point and a finish point. It's not going to include multiple waypoints beyond those. Now, before I can actually use the router, we do have it imported. It's part of the services module, but we do need to initialize the router, kind of like how we did with the geocoder service and the service service. So what I want to do is I want to say constant. I can say something like router service equals platform.get routing service. So it's initialized. So it wasn't that bad. So if I were to scroll back down to our calculate route,
I could kind of do what I did on line 33 where I return a new promise. And we call the function from our router service. So I'm going to say router service, and I'm going to say calculate route. Now, calculate route's going to expect some parameters, and it's of course going to expect our waypoints, which is the start and finish. So before I start adding anything in to these parentheses, I'm going to define our parameters. So I'm going to say constant. I'm going to say params equal, and I could easily have created this object inside of line 52, but I'm just trying to break it up so that way it's less aggressive on each line, a little easier to read. So for our parameters, we want to have our mode. So in this case, we can say our mode, we can do fastest. We have other options. Again, we could choose shortest. We could choose balanced. We have quite a few options to choose from. We're going to choose car. We're going to say traffic. We're going to say enabled, and we're gonna leave it at that. Just those options for now. We're going to define our waypoints. So I'm going to say waypoint 0, so our starting waypoint. This is going to be a comma delimited string. So being that we're based on what we've been working with up until now, we've been working with generally chords dot longitude or latitude, similar things like that. So I'm going to say start dot latitude. I'm going to separate it by comma, and I'm going to say start dot longitude. And I'm going to do the same thing for waypoint 1. Any idea if I wanted to add another waypoint, Peter?
No.
What I would do if I want to have a stop along the road? Just making sure you're not sleeping.
No, I'm not sleeping. To add a stop?
Yeah, what if I wanted to add a pit stop? Maybe I needed to fill up my tank. What would I do?
Would it be a stop dot latitude?
No. You could.
No?
We could have another stop in here, but we would create another waypoint. So if we were to add a pit stop to before our finish, this of course would be waypoint 2, and then we'd have a waypoint 1 in there, right? For each stop between the first one and the last one.
Yeah. So what would the call be? What would the term be? It's not start or finish. Would it be
We
stop?
call it pit stop. I mean, it doesn't really matter what you call it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. I get it.
Yeah. There's one more that we need to add though. So inside of our router, I believe it's representation. So we want to decide what we're going to return. So what we're going to return is we're going to return the display because we want to display it as a line on the map. We don't want to just work with, based on what we define here, depends on what it's going to return in our response. So we want to return display information. So representation display.
We got a tip from Stallwalker says line 56 spelling issue with calculate.
Line 56 spelling issue. Ah, good call.
Calculate.
Does that look better?
I think so. Yeah. Thank you, Stallwalker.
Good call.
Who knows how long that would have taken to found.
Oh man, yeah, I know. Those little typos or missing the semicolons, those could be the worst. Yeah, if anyone finds any kind of spelling errors or just maybe I've done something wrong completely, point it out. Call me out on it.
And I'll be happy to fill Nick in.
Yeah, definitely.
Lumpiest Tax says switching from a dark editor to a blinding white document is a hazard of the job.
Should I change my?
No, I think dark. We're gonna stay longer in the dark editor, but that is.
We will, yeah. I know. All right,
Yep.
It's good feedback for the next episode.
Well, for documentation, our documentation page is all white background. So.
Oh yeah. Well, our map. I guess our map will have a little bit of color to it, but
True.
I won't go too much into the documentation pages.
Okay. We're gonna do this all from memory.
Hopefully. Well, I mean, the parameters. I mean, there's a lot of possible parameters, so it's often. I definitely don't remember all of them.
True.
And this is just 4 of I don't know. There was over 20 different possible parameters in that list, depending on what you're trying to accomplish.
True. We can also make our documentation page dark.
We could offer a dark mode. Yeah, maybe. So I'll add those parameters in. I'll say params. Just like with the other functions, we have a success callback, and we have an error callback. We'll reject for the error because it's a promise. And then just for now, we're just going to resolve whatever success is, and we're going to print that out to the log. So we're gonna actually call this calculate route function now. So let's go back into our start function because that's where all of our core application logic goes. Let's go ahead and say constant. I'm going to say Tracy to Stockton route, maybe. Doesn't really matter what you call it.
Sure.
But I'm going to say await. I'm going to say calculate route. I'm going to say Tracy, and I'm going to say Stockton. Because I've used the geocoder. I have the latitude and longitude information for both of those cities. I'm going to say console.log, and I'm going to say Tracy to Stockton route. And I'm going to print it out. So I'm going to go back into the map that's on the screen. I'm going to open up the developer console. I'm going to refresh, and let me zoom in. Is that large enough?
I think that looks good. Chat, tell me if you want it large, bigger than that.
Pull it up a little bit.
Yeah, Melody's asking for stickers for typos. Maybe future seasons I can set up a tally for each time that there's a. You can just kind of sit above Nick's head down at the bottom.
We're gonna send you a sticker of a semicolon in the mail for every error, right? Semicolon or bracket.
Okay. Palermo from Twitch says something I've learned: don't risk nomenclature to Peter. What does that even mean?
I don't know what that
nomenclature. What am I naming?
Oh, the naming the Tracy to Stockton route.
Oh, well, I have no input for that.
All right. Well, I'm just going to assume that everyone says that this is large enough.
Okay. Yeah. They're saying it looks good.
Perfect. So we have our response. We have the route information. What we're interested in, because we do have quite a bit that could be useful to us in other ways. If we want to just draw that route between the 2 points, we're looking for the shape information. So the shape information is going to be an array of points, similar to how we saw in previous examples. But it's going to, basically, we just want to take each one of these points in the array, and we want to add it to a line string and then convert it to a polyline to be drawn.
Okay.
So let's better format this response. So we have response, route. We'll take the first result that comes back, and mode. So let's change it up a bit. So go back into my function here, and I'll say success.response. I've already forgotten what it was. Response, route 0,
route 0,
and then shape. Route 0, and then shape. So this will be a little better. I'll refresh the screen just to validate that now we're just working with point data.
There it is.
And we are. So let's now work on drawing it. And I'm going to test you, Peter. Do you remember how to draw?
We're doing a line string, right?
Yeah.
Or a polyline.
It's right below, just in case you need some help.
I see it.
We'll actually do the following. So we're actually going to say Tracy to Stockton route, and we're going to say for each. So we're going to do a loop. I could easily do a for loop or something else, but I'm just going to say for each. I'm going to say points because we have point data for each iteration. And I'm going to, first of all, I guess I need to declare my line string. I'll say constant. I'll say Tracy to Stockton line string. Makes sense, right?
Makes sense.
So now let's populate this.
Okay.
So first of all, the points they're coming in as comma delimited, and we could technically, I guess, just use that. But we're going to break it up and kind of follow the trend that we've been doing all along. So we're going to say, I'm going to split it. So I'm going to say, let's say let parts equal points dot split. I'm going to split it by the comma character, so that way now we have an array. and we're going to say Tracy to Stockton line string dot push point, and we're going to say lat is going to be part 0, so the first part of that before the comma, and then longe is going to be part, and I think it's plural, parts 1, so after the comma. So we have our line strings created. Now what we want to do is we want to take that line string, which is now populated from each one of our points from that loop, and we want to create a polygon out of it. So I can say constant, I'll say Tracy to Stockton polygon. And again, they're probably better naming conventions than what we're coming up with here. But we're gonna say.
Well, apparently I'm not allowed to give input. I'm also Palermo says I'm not allowed to draw either.
Not allowed to draw. What did you draw?
I don't know.
I haven't even drawn anything on this episode.
I'm losing my authority.
All right.
Babs D says nice async / wait. Oh wait.
Did I forget one?
No, I don't. He's just saying. He says you're doing a good job. I don't know.
Oh, all right.
He says nice. And then Palermo agrees. So I don't know if they're razzing you or if that's. He's saying it's nice form.
All right, perfect. Thank you. Thank you for the compliments. So I have my polygon. I'm going to add it as one of my objects here, just like we did it in episode 1. And I'm going to refresh my screen. Oh, that's a polygon. I should have created a polyline, not a polygon.
Oh, no. I told you a polyline.
Did you?
Didn't I say that?
I don't know. I'm going to say no. Polyline. And let's just change this up again. I also noticed that the line was kind of thin, so I'm going to add some style information again.
Okay.
So that way it's just a little easier to see. So we have style, and we have line width, and let's just make that 5. Oh, no semicolon. So let's go ahead and refresh. And you can see that now we have kind of a complex set of curves here to represent our actual route. Now, a lot of this is highway, so that's why it's so straight. But if I were to choose 2 points within a very congested city, this would be a much more, I guess, exotic line.
Exotic.
Yeah, I'm gonna use exotic.
Yeah, it's a very plain. We're just driving on the freeway. So here's a question: Can you request to not be on the freeway?
You can. I don't know the exact one off the top of my head for the mode, but probably there's some kind of attribute in here. It has to do probably with the weight. So let's go with. I won't search too hard on this.
There's some commentary. Jithan says it's Tracy to Stockton on 84 and 89, but I think I'm not sure. Maybe you already got it. But
maybe
we'll check after this.
Yeah. So yeah. All right. So.
Or if maybe we just. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So one of these.
Motorway.
Yeah, off the top of my head on using it, because what basically happens is you're assigning a weight. So the default is 0. So you're kind of assigning a weight. And I think you're basically going to say a strict exclude on motorway. So you would set, I think, motorway to -3, and it would do back roads. But don't quote me on that. You'd have to play around with it.
Okay.
Unless somebody else in the chat knows it off the top of their head.
Hey, nobody's talking. They're all still giving me crap. I don't know. Palermo's.
Oh, they're still giving you crap. All right.
He says now I'm asking questions. I've been doing that this whole time. What are you talking about? Okay. Do you want to try to add that, or should we move on?
I think we'll move on. If there's time, maybe we'll play around with that.
Okay. Yeah.
I do have a lot of content that I want to cover again.
Let's move on. We're a half hour in, so let's move on.
Half hour in. Wow. All right. So what do we have? We have this on our map. So that would be a waypoint route. So we have other forms of routing as well. Another cool one, which, like I said in the first episode, I think Peter did too, was we also have what's called an Isoline route. And it's a little different. So an Isoline route, basically you give it a center point. And based on that center point, you provide conditions. You want to say, you know what, how far can I get in this time frame from this center point? And instead of just drawing a circle around that, it'll give you an actual polygon of all of the places that you can actually reach within that time frame, or distance, or consumption factors. So consumption factors being whatever you define, maybe speed, or other things, because maybe you want to decide how far can you get on your electric vehicle charge, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it opens up a new realm of possibilities, and we're going to explore that next.
Nice.
Yeah. We already do have the router service initialized on line 16, so we can just create another function similar to what we did for calculate route. So we're going to create another one. We're going to call it constant, let's say, calculate Isoline. This time around, we don't need a finish point, but we do need a start point. In this case, we're going to keep it kind of restricted to just one mode of kind of navigation. So we won't let people decide whether it's going to be pedestrian or what the consumption factor is going to be. We're gonna hard code that, but we're going to say how far we can get based on a certain range. So let's go ahead and say range.
Okay. Kubera speaking shared a shameless plug for a truck routing blog post.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in that, it was actually allowed. Nightbot allowed it to happen. I did a little bit of tweaking, so it seems like it's working now.
Is it on their personal blog, or is it on the Here blog?
The Here blog, developer.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a pretty cool feature that Here offers, being able to route trucks, because there's certain specifications that must be met.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe they're towing a hazardous chemical. You can't go on all roadways.
Or
based
tunnels
on that,
and
right?
Yep.
Yeah. So being able to navigate for trucks is very powerful. So we'll return another promise. We do have parameters again. So I'll say constant params. So it's going to be the same kind of setup. It's a different API though. So I'll go back into my browser, and I know I'm hopping between dark and light mode.
It's okay.
We'll change that next time around though. But we have an Isoline API. So it does have its own set of parameters here. We're going to be using the start, so the start of where our Isoline is going to be. We're not going to worry about destination. We will worry about range, and our range is going to be based on time. So it's going to be a range based on seconds rather than meters or the consumption factor. We're going to say the mode. We're going to say it's going to look very similar to what we saw with the Waypoint Route, and we're going to have a departure time. So when should the factors be taken into consideration? Should it be something in the past? Should it be based on now's traffic conditions? Things like that. So I think that's all we're going to use from the API. But if it fails, we'll revisit. So let's go ahead and say start. So start, it's going to be the same kind of design that we saw in the regular route. So it's comma delimited. So we're going to say start.latitude. Separate it by a comma, and then start.longitude. We have a mode, which is going to be fastest car traffic enabled. I think that was
That's
what was here for mode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I said,
well, that one was disabled, at least listed.
Yeah, we want to enable it because traffic. It may not be a big deal for Tracy and Stockton, but in San Francisco, if there's traffic, a 5-minute route might be substantially different, and we can look into that in a second as well, to show you what I mean. There was one more, I think. Mode. There was a time, right?
I missed it.
Time. I forgot what I called it. I'm having a brain fart here. Yeah, departure.
Departure time.
There we go. So departure.
There's a Rick Lee says that you can do some cool animations with isochrones. Isoline analysis by here is more isochrome interpreted as a polygon. So yeah, we actually, I'm not sure if we have a blog post out about, you know, you can scale between different times to see the difference between traffic at one point in time versus another point. So you can see, you know, based on, and we'll probably be able to show that here. So
yeah, we could. So these are the parameters I want to use. So I'm going to set the range on time. It's also going to be now. If I wanted to, I could do a compliant timestamp, or it says that I can just use now in the documentation, which I'll go ahead and do. Yeah, very convenient. So I'm going to say router service. I'm going to say calculate isoline because that's the JavaScript SDK function. I'm going to pass in params. I'm going to again work with the success and error callbacks. And none of my code is being chopped off by our heads, right, Peter?
Nope. We're good.
So I'm going to say reject. I'm going to say error. And I'm going to say resolve. And I'm going to say success. And we're just going to take a look at what it returns for now. We're going to follow the same strategy that we used for waypoint routing. So let's go down here. I probably don't need to spit out line 95 anymore. But what I can do is I can say, let's say constant. I'm going to call it Tracy isoline data maybe equals await. I'm going to say calculate isoline. And for the starting point, let's go ahead and type in Tracy. And for the range, let's go ahead and use 1,000 seconds. And I don't know what that translates to as far as minutes or hours. But we'll just say 1,000 for now. And that we want to print out. So we want to say console.log Tracy isoline data. And let's see what we get when I go back into the web browser.
Okay. Kubera speaking says you need to add the range in the modes.
Yeah, so did I forget that? Range is not specified. Let's check that out. I think I did forget the range, right? Where is it? All right. Range. I think that'll solve our problem.
Good catch.
Yeah, glad to see people are paying attention. All right, so we have a similar result, very similar to what we've seen in every single other SDK request that we've made so far. But we do have the center information, which we won't care about. We care about the isoline information, and just like with the others, we have a shape. And again, the shape is going to be point data again. So we're going to use that to draw a polygon around our point. So same strategy. So if we look at our breakdown, we have response, isoline, component, shape. So
real quick,
yes.
Rickley's trying to share a link that's outside. So if you direct message one of our mods, the people with the swords, they'll be able to deem whatever you're trying to link if it's appropriate, and then they can share for you. So if you click on somebody's name in chat, you can add you can whisper them, and you can try to direct message that link, see if they can share it for you. If they don't get to it, I'll do it myself. Palermo, I don't know. Oh yeah, Jason, he's saying that we did a blog post as well showing a demo to adjust daytime to see a response. So he shared a blog post for that. Okay.
Cool.
All right, continue.
Awesome. All right, so I believe if I remember correctly, this is a breakdown to get to our shape information. I can validate by refreshing. It is, and you'll notice that in none of these, in pretty much every circumstance that I've done in all of these episodes, I haven't done any error catching. You probably do want to make sure that each of these array elements actually exists in the response before you try to use them. But we're not going to worry about that for these episodes. This is just probably not production ready if you're going to copy my code exactly. So we have the shape information. Let's worry about drawing it now. Same kind of strategy that we saw as of now. So we're going to say maybe Tracy Isoline Route. This could be a constant equals. Oh wait, I already have Isoline data. My bad. So we want to loop through it. So we want to say Tracy Isoline data dot for each. Again, we're left with points. We want to probably create a line string for this. So we're going to say constant, say Tracy Isoline line string equals new geo h.geo dot polyline line string. We're going to break up our comma separated data. So we're going to say again parts equals what was it? We have points dot split, and we can say Tracy Isoline line string dot push point. We can say lat is parts 0, and longitude is parts 1. So same kind of setup as
Yeah,
now.
it's pretty much the same, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and everything you kind of do with our APIs that here are going to be more or less the same. So again, even though that I'm working with Isoline data and it's going to draw a substantially different image, we're still populating our line string the same. We're still creating polylines or polygons. The same kind of setup if you want to display it visually. If you want to do other stuff with that data, then you're going to have to use your imagination a little, I think. Right? Let's go ahead and do a polygon now. So I'm going to say constant. I'll say Tracy Isoline polygon equals new h.map.polygon. And that's going to have a line, what do we call it? Tracy Isoline line string. We're going to give it some style information. Actually, I'll use the default for now, but let's add it to the map. So I'm going to say, let's copy this, paste it in there, because this is a map object. I'm going to refresh. And it created this nice shape right here, right? It's not circular because any particular reason why it can't be circular, Peter?
Because of the roads.
What else?
Well, it's a distance. It's time. If you're driving straight down the road, you can get further. If you're going direct, then it's not a direct radius.
Another example is maybe you've got a large body of water that sits between your point and your destination. It's probably going to take you a little longer than you think to cross the bridge and do all of that great stuff to get to that point, right?
Is there a large body of water over there?
No, there's absolutely no water in Tracy. It's a wasteland. But yeah, no, if you go to the left a little bit, there's some water.
There you go.
Yeah, so let's change things up. So let's come up with another scenario. Let's come up with a scenario where maybe I want to draw an isoline here, and I want to look at the overlap in time. I know that one of our evangelists on the team actually wrote a blog post demonstrating his house hunt. So him and his wife wanted to find a house that was close enough to each of their workplaces, right? Mm-hmm. So they drew an isoline around each of the, I believe, each of the workplaces, and then where it overlapped is where they wanted to buy their house.
Mm-hmm. With a specific time, like travel restraint. Nice.
So that way, neither one of them would be traveling too far or too long in the car to get to work.
Mm-hmm. Babsty says cool, right? I had the right answer. Finally, right, somebody's on my side.
All right.
Also, Babsty's been knighted. He's officially a mod in chat, so you're welcome.
Knighted. All right.
Okay, continue.
All right.
Very cool.
Did my example make sense?
It does make sense.
Example. It was somebody else's.
No, that example makes sense.
I'll give the shout out. I think it was Richard on our team from Germany.
Okay.
Who actually did that. So let's just draw one around Stockton. We're gonna come up with another. Just how much time do we got actually? What's our time looking like?
We're at 10:45 right now. We've got
some time.
I got some time, yeah.
To play around this and make it a little cooler.
Do it.
All right, so let's kind of copy what we have for the isoline stuff. I'm going to just do the same thing. I'm going to do it for Stockton, though. Oh, what did that just do? I hit the wrong button on the keyboard.
Deleted everything.
Did it? All right, yeah. I hit the wrong button on the keyboard and it did something.
It's like a space bar or something.
I wanted to do the clone with Visual Studio Code, so that way it clones it. So I have the Isoline. I want to probably remove this printout. But for the Isoline data, let's go ahead and change this. I'm going to do that fancy bulk change. I'm going to say this is now Stockton Isoline data. Probably don't need the printout there on line 125. This one is going to be, actually I'm just going to change it here. So this is Stockton. It's pretty convenient, right, Peter?
It's very convenient.
I know it took me. I didn't even know that existed for the longest time.
That's pretty awesome.
But it's changed my life for development. So we have two isolines now. I can add it. I'm going to say Stockton Isoline Polygon. I'll actually. Should I break this up into multiple lines, Peter?
Yeah, do another map object for that, right?
Well, I could.
Or can you do
I'll just break it down.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes, please.
Yeah, so that way it's maybe just a little easier.
Yep.
So I'll save it, refresh it. It didn't seem to work. I must have forgotten something.
It looks like it drew the same one again.
Oh, I probably didn't change the location then. So
you and your fancy variable renames. You didn't switch the.
I missed that one. So let's go ahead and try it again.
There you go.
In 1,000 seconds, it looks like there's some overlap. It's a little hard to tell. It is a little changed in color. We can actually change the color of these isolines. Let's change the color a little bit. So for example, for Tracy, let's go ahead and add some style information. Let's go ahead and change this to fill color. This is going to be an RGBA value. It could be the hex value as well. But I'm just going to say 255. And then the transparency is going to be 0.5. And then similarly, I'm going to do it for the Stockton one. So that way they're not the same color. Make it a little more interesting. This one's going
easier to read.
Yeah, green. Let's go ahead and see what that looks like now. Oh, I guess that's not green, it's purple or some shade of it, but that's fine. So I was way off. But yeah, so we do have a more noticeable overlap now, right? So let's expand on this example then maybe. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Places API. I'm going to search for various McDonald's, and I'm going to see, you know what, person in Tracy, person in Stockton, we want to meet up for lunch at McDonald's.
Ooh.
And we need to find something that's within a reasonable distance for each of us. And then we're going to draw a route between them. How's that sound?
That sounds great.
The reason why I'm choosing McDonald's because I want to use the term McMarker. I don't know. It seems like it'd be cool, right?
Dang it. Rickley is asking, is there some merge in your JavaScript, or do I need to use turf or some other fancy JS?
What do you mean? Like a merge between these points, or?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he's asking if he takes your code, does he have to have something fancy? A merge of polygons. Oh. Is there a merge of polygons, or is it clipping?
No, it's not clipping. I think it's just overlapping because they're transparent to a certain extent. So the blue, which is going to, I think, be rendered on top of the red, you can still see through it, and it creates a darker color, like mixing colors. I don't think.
Yeah, they're on separate layers, right? It's like an index, right?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. From a web design perspective, I think it's just a different z-index, right?
I think they're asking about if they want to actually combine them into one layer, what the process for that is.
That's a good question. I don't actually know.
Okay.
It's probably possible. Maybe somebody in the chat.
Yeah, Babsdy's providing some input.
Oh, Babsdy is on it.
Yep.
Thanks, Babsdy.
Yeah. Jason's saying you could also do In-N-Out Burger, but
In-N-Out Burger.
I don't know. I don't think there's as many as In-N-Out Marker. I don't know.
In and out marker. Oh man, I don't know. Let's just go ahead and copy this. The Starbucks code. We're gonna change it up a bit.
All right.
In and out burger. Come on. Change this. I'm gonna use my fancy McDonald's.
I'm more of a Dick's guy. I'm from Seattle, so.
All right. So we have markers, which are now going to be called Mic markers. Because that's what I'm shooting for.
Because you decided.
Because I want it
It's
so
settled.
bad, right?
Yeah.
All right. So we have that. If I wanted to, let's go ahead and just draw them on the map. I don't know if I can merge. I think I could merge there, right? I think actually,
I have no idea. You're asking the wrong guy.
Mic markers ... might work.
What? Really?
I don't know. I think
What does
there's
that
some
mean?
I think there's some fancy JavaScript logic that will like merge arrays. I've seen it done. It's like pure witchcraft. That might work. It did work.
Wow.
Yeah. Can you
Look
believe
at
that?
you.
All right. So that's it's not very far because I think the distance was not very far on the markers, right? 10,000 meters, probably not very far. Let's go ahead and change that to maybe 30,000. Yeah, so now we've got more options, right?
There you go.
So our goal now is I found this marker in the overlap. If I click on this marker, I want it to draw a route from maybe Tracy to this marker and then maybe Stockton to that marker. Does that sound cool?
It sounds great.
So let's have a look.
Palermo says getting Mick close to an end of an hour.
Oh.
We got time. We can finish
We
this
got
up.
time. We can finish this up.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and change this though. So we actually want to add click events to these markers. So we need to break this up. We can't just say new inside of it. So let's go ahead and say we'll say constant. We'll say I think constant will work. Let's just call it Nic marker singular, and we're going to say that it equals this. And we're going to swap this out. We're going to say Mic marker. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to add a click event to every marker that gets created for this place. So I'm going to say Mic marker dot add event listener. And I'm going to listen for a tap event on the marker. There's other types of events that you can listen for in terms of gestures, but we're going to say tap. And then we're going to look for the data that comes back with that. And the data that we're actually looking for is we can get the marker location, and that's going to be useful to us. So if I wanted to, I can say console.log. I can say event.target.get position, and I'll show you what it looks like in the log. So this would, in theory, would be the position for any particular marker that I click. So if I saved it and I refreshed it, and let's say I click this marker, that's the position. Or that marker, that's the position. But if I click here on the map, it doesn't do anything.
Nice.
Because the events are just set up on the markers themselves.
Just tied to the marker. Cool.
Yeah, so with that information, now I can actually draw my route, because remember, my route function expects a start and an end position. So we have all of the information that we need.
So we can just replace the one that we made already, right? Or just like change the...
I'm just going to cut it out if I can find it.
Okay.
So we have the polylines. I just want to make sure I'm not cutting out too much.
Yeah, the route. You can probably get rid of the Tracy and Stockton markers.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna change it. Let's go ahead and cut that. I'll leave it in so it doesn't start erroring and we spend time troubleshooting it. I'm just copying it, and I'm gonna paste it in into our listener. What we're gonna do now is I'm gonna say calculate. I'm going to call this maybe our route, and we're going to say Tracy to whatever that calculation was. So I'm going to say, let's say constant position equals event.target.get position. So that way that I can say the following. So I can say, and I'll drop it down. I'll say latitude is going to be position dot lat, and longitude is position dot longe. So we're going to Tracy to this part, and we're going to go do the same thing for Stockton.
Nice.
And we could have easily done this with multiple waypoints, I guess. There's other ways that we could have done, but we'll just two different routes to represent the direction and all of that. So we have our route. Now we want to create our line strings from it. Let's go ahead and say our Tracy. Doing my fancy copy. Let's see if it works. Our Tracy line string. And we want to do the same thing for Stockton. So let's just see if it works.
So one of them.
Did one of them not copy right?
Well, there's the. Oh, okay. No, you got it. You got it.
Yeah. So let's do the same thing for Stockton. So I'll clone that. We'll say our Stockton. We're almost done. Hopefully this is cool when it's done. But
it just works perfectly.
Hopefully. We're going to say after inside of our event listener, we're going to add that stuff. So we're going to say map.add_objects, and we're going to add both of them. We're going to add the Stockton and the Tracy. All right, what are the odds that this works, right?
Pretty high. I believe in you.
High?
Oh!
All right, so easy fix. So we have some async await going on because we're in here. We need an asynchronous function. We could easily just say async in here because this is technically a function right here.
That makes sense.
It works. All right, so let's because there's already a line still right there. Let's go ahead and click on here. It didn't do anything.
It looked like it made the line thicker between.
All right, so it's still printing out the wrong points then. So let's see. We have our...
Palermo's jumping off. Thanks for coming by and helping out. He's
Yeah.
He said see you on the on camera next week.
Yeah, definitely. So it does look like it got thicker though, right? Yeah.
I think so, right? Can you refresh it and?
No, I don't think it got thicker when I clicked it. Let's see. Oh,
yeah.
It did get thicker.
All right, it just drew the line again over on top of it.
Yeah, so somewhere I'm using the wrong data. So, and if I can't find it immediately, maybe we just fix it later in a second commit to the project.
True.
But let's just give it a minute. Let's look through here. If anyone still on the channel sees where I went wrong.
Where are you drawing the lines? Because it looks like there's already one drawn between them. Maybe get rid of the ones that are drawn earlier.
Yeah. So if I remove the old stuff, let's remove the old stuff. So we're gonna remove the Tracy.
Maybe you just named them the same.
These. Let's remove that stuff. It's irrelevant to us now, I think. Let's remove where I'm drawing. So let's remove this. So we shouldn't have anything anymore. Yeah, so there's no route as of now. That's just a highway, not an actual route. So
I'll try clicking again.
Try clicking again?
Yeah.
It shouldn't have done anything, but let's click it. Yeah.
Oh,
Tracy
okay.
to Stockton route is so let's look at where I'm finding that. Tracy to Stockton route. So that's still defined somewhere. Right here. So this should be
that should just be the
our Tracy
string,
route.
right? Yeah.
Now I should have the same thing for Stockton as well, which I do not. So our Stockton route. I don't know why it it didn't come up in my. I guess that's the problem you get when you do the multi-line.
Your
right?
precious edit.
Yeah, my precious edit is not without problems. So it drew it.
Hey.
It looks like it's one line. Let's change the color real quick and we'll call it a day.
Nice.
You remember how to change the color, Peter?
I don't know where it is in here.
Yeah, right. I know it's a mess. That's why we're gonna clean it up in this bonus episode.
Okay.
We're gonna say style. We're gonna say line or stroke color. This time it's just RGB. Let's go ahead and say that maybe this is 0, maybe 255, 0, and then let's. Now what am I doing wrong here? Oh, I did it inside. My bad. So we only want the stroke. There we go. Let's do the same thing here, but we'll change the line color a bit. Let's go ahead and make it. I think this would be yellow. I was wrong on the last color. This I could be wrong again. But let's go ahead and let's try our example here. There we go.
Green,
so
beautiful.
Yeah, so these would be 2 routes to the same points. And
awesome.
It's a silly example. You might not it probably doesn't make any sense to use in reality, but it's just
it's over engineering an answer. I like it.
Yeah, but I mean, we saw how to create 2 different isolines. We saw them overlap, and we saw how to use routes. And we basically brought everything that we learned from this particular season together, right? And there's plenty more that you can do with the JavaScript SDK with here, but this is just some of the exciting stuff that I think a lot of people, based on what I hear from events, is popular.
Yeah, and you know, in future seasons we can dive a little further into JavaScript. Yeah, so that's our episode for today. I'll post the poll back into chat if you want to vote for what we cover on season 2. It's either going to be all of them are focused around frameworks. It'll either be a deep dive into Angular, Vue, or React, or we can cover all 3 on more of a shallow look into each of them. So go ahead and vote over there. We'll also have a Twitter poll posted this week we can vote on that too. We're just trying to collect as many sources as we can. But thank you guys so much for coming out and watching our first season of Developer Waypoints. We're adding the code.
I just added it.
There you go. We're adding the code to GitHub right now. I'll bring us back to our big screen. And you can see right there on screen is the link to GitHub. I'll post it back in a chat, so you can follow that to download this episode. You can go look at the code that Nic just wrote.
Yeah, and the code that we did in this episode is kind of wild, but it doesn't need to be. It's just because I did some wacky examples that didn't necessarily make a lot of sense, right, Peter?
Yes.
You could probably accomplish this with a lot less.
True. Yeah, and so after this episode's over, I'll download it and we'll upload it to YouTube, and we'll have links on our Twitch page as well. So you can go back, and if you missed anything, you want to pause and really study the code and look at our examples. Kubera speaking is asking you to show the result one more time.
Which one?
The result.
Oh.
There you go, with our heads in the way.
Oh.
Can you click on another point and it'll redraw? Does that work?
No, I don't have it clear, the
Okay.
map markers or anything. I could refresh, but if I wanted to have it clear,
Yeah.
There's a remove objects
On the
function,
click.
just like there's no, not necessarily on the click, but you know how we did add objects.
Mm-hmm.
You can do the same thing for remove objects, and it'll remove objects from the map. Does that make sense?
Yes. That makes sense. Stallwalker is saying Shameless Plug developer newsletter. It did get plugged actually on Monday. And there's also a link in chat right now if you want to sign up for the developer newsletter to get notified for upcoming live streams. And we'll probably be, sharing our season 2 of Waypoints there. What else? Nic, this is the final episode. We don't have season 2 mapped out yet, but once it's ready, it'll be up on the calendar below. And and we'll have it in our events section within Twitch. So
If you have,
yeah.
I wanted to jump in and cut you off here. I'm gonna let you finish, but right. Remember that old school stuff?
Yeah, very cool.
Anyways, yes, yeah, not cool. But anyways, I'm gonna say if you see the poll and you give your answer, but there's like very specific material that you want to show up on the next season, opportunity to join the Slack channel, and give us your actual requests, and if it's feasible for a 1 hour episode, then maybe we'll take it on.
Yeah. So I'll also post a link to our Slack group, so you can go and join there and chat with us there. So make sure you follow our Twitch account so you can get notified whenever we go live with other live streams and other series. I was going to say one more thing. Oh, we'll do a bonus episode. It's too many things to talk about. We'll do a bonus episode. Nick, we haven't talked about when we'll do it. Maybe
sometime, maybe this month, by the end of the month, maybe, right?
Yeah. Either next week or the week after, whatever. We'll walk back through our code, and it'll just be maybe like a half hour. It'll be a shorter thing that we'll just kind of walk back what we did, and make it a little cleaner, make it look prettier, so then it's easier to read, to use.
And it'll show up on our YouTube channel, right, Peter?
Sure. Yep.
Not live. It's not going to be live.
Oh, we're not going to do it live?
I mean, we can if you want, but I figured we would just do it offline since it's just code cleanup. I don't know if it needs to be live.
Okay.
It's up to whatever everyone wants.
Yeah, true. Sir Demir says, Peter, are you coding as a UX designer? What do you do? I'm not a coder. I actually tried coding in college. I was going to be a major and I was terrible at it, but I know a little bit. But I'm running this our live stream series, so I have a tiny bit of knowledge and I can talk a little bit, but mostly I'm refereeing questions from chat.
Peter makes this show a success. If you've seen the setup that's going on inside the office right now,
it's pretty crazy. We should share on our developer Twitter what this looks like right now.
Yeah.
I've literally have 4 monitors. I'm a front end dev, but interested in design. I don't know what to do for if I want to go comp sci and learn design on the side of that. Design is amazing. That's all I can say. I don't know. I'm a designer. I do everything though right now. So that's me. Thank you everyone so much for coming out. I think we're just going to wrap it up here. And we'll see you next time on season 2 of Waypoint. So make sure you vote. Nick,
thanks everyone.
Do you have any? Want to say goodbye?
Yeah. Bye.
See ya.